All right, so today we are going to be doing a deep dive into a really popular book
Yeah.
by Jeff Keller called Attitude is Everything.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, and we've all heard that phrase before.
Mm-hmm.
But what's so cool about this book is we get to follow Jeff Keller's journey
Oh, interesting.
from being a really successful lawyer who's totally miserable
Okay.
to then becoming this motivational speaker.
Wow.
And he attributes that entire change to just shifting his mindset.
Interesting.
And so his story is not just about like thinking happy thoughts.
Right.
He really dives into like the nitty-gritty details of how our attitudes shape our reality. And he uses his own life as an example.
That makes sense.
And so the story starts in a place I think a lot of us can relate to,
Okay.
which is like that feeling of being stuck even when you've achieved what like society considers success.
Oh, yeah.
So he was a lawyer. He had the career, the marriage, the whole 9 yards. But he was battling some serious like inner turmoil.
I see.
And he describes this feeling of having the weight of the world on his shoulders every day.
Oh, gosh.
He was bogged down by paperwork and trial postponements and just this overwhelming sense of like emptiness.
So it's kind of like, what's the point of reaching all these goals if you're not even going to be happy when you get there?
And that is exactly what he realized when he turned 30.
Okay.
He had this aha moment where he was like, there's got to be more to life than this.
Mm-hmm.
But the wild part is that his turning point
Okay.
came from the most unexpected place.
Oh, really? What was it?
A late-night infomercial.
Oh, you know.
I know, right?
That's amazing.
Talk about a sign from the universe.
Seriously.
So he's flipping through channels. He's feeling kind of down.
Mm-hmm.
And he stops on this infomercial for something called the Mental Bank.
Okay. Never heard of it.
And get this, it's hosted by Florence Henderson.
Oh, wow. From the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, from the Brady Bunch.
That's wild.
It's crazy. And even he was like, I can't believe I bought this program.
Uh-huh. So what was so special about this mental bank thing?
Well, the program really like hammers home this idea
Okay.
that our thoughts shape our reality.
Okay.
And a positive attitude is like the key
I see.
to unlocking success and happiness.
Yeah.
And Keller even quotes Dr. Norman Vincent Peale in the book,
Interesting.
who says, you are not what you think you are,
Okay.
but what you think you are.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and this idea really struck a chord with him.
So for him, it was like a light bulb moment.
It really was, and this is where things start to get really interesting.
Okay.
So he starts reading all of these like personal development books.
Oh, cool. Like,
By authors like Napoleon Hill.
I love Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, and Og Mandino.
Oh, yeah, he's great too.
But the thing is, he didn't just passively consume this information.
Okay.
He felt so inspired that he started teaching these motivational concepts.
Oh, wow.
As a side gig while he was still working as a lawyer. And he was even charging people a small fee for these classes.
Oh, so he was serious about this.
He was totally hooked.
That's cool.
And he was getting all of this positive feedback from the people in his classes.
Oh, great.
Which eventually gave him the courage to make a huge change.
Oh, okay. What was it?
He decided to transition completely away from law.
Wow. He quit law
Yeah.
to teach motivational speaking.
Yeah.
That's a big leap.
It really was, but it wasn't an overnight decision.
Right.
He gradually reduced his legal work as his motivational speaking career started taking off.
Okay.
So it was more of like a gradual process.
That makes sense.
But I can only imagine making such a big change in your life.
Yeah,
It couldn't have been easy.
No, I'm sure he faced some challenges.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll talk about those challenges in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so let's get into it.
Awesome. So leaving a stable career, that's a big one.
Yeah, huge.
And then facing financial uncertainty. I mean, those are major hurdles for anyone.
Totally.
And he even mentions in the book that his own mother wasn't too happy about it at first.
Really?
Yeah, she didn't really approve.
Oh, wow. So he had all of that going on.
Yeah. But you know what? There's this great quote by H. Jackson Brown Jr.
Okay.
that really sums up Keller's mindset during this time. And it's, never underestimate your power to change yourself.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's powerful.
And it sounds like he really took that quote to heart.
He did. And you know what?
What?
His dedication paid off big time.
Yeah. I'm guessing things worked out for him.
They did. He achieved financial success.
Wow.
And his mother eventually came around and supported his new career path.
That's great.
It is, Keller's story really shows that even when we face doubt and challenges, taking a leap of faith can lead to incredible things.
Absolutely. So we've talked about his journey.
Yeah.
But let's actually talk about the book itself.
Okay.
I mean, Attitude is everything, it sounds like, more than just your typical self-help book.
Right. It's not just like a bunch of fluffy affirmations.
Yeah, it's like he's created this blueprint
Yeah.
for actually cultivating a positive mindset based on all of his research and his own personal experience.
That's a great way to put it. He spent over 20 years studying success.
Wow, that's dedication.
Yeah, he was reading tons of books, articles, attending seminars, you name it.
So he really immersed himself in this world.
He did all to understand the impact of attitude.
And then he took all of that knowledge
Yeah.
and turned it into this practical guide for anyone who wants to make a change.
Exactly.
That's incredible. So how does he actually structure the book?
Okay, so the book is broken down into 3 parts.
Okay.
Each one focuses on a different element of building a strong, positive attitude.
Okay, so tell me about these 3 parts.
All right, so part 1 is called Success Begins in the Mind.
Interesting.
And it really dives deep into the idea that our thoughts have power.
Okay.
You know, we've all heard the saying, you are what you think. But Keller actually breaks down how our thoughts directly impact our actions and ultimately our results.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. And he even provides some techniques for becoming more aware of those negative thought patterns that can really hold us back.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts.
Right.
It's about actually rewiring those deep-seated thought patterns.
Exactly. One technique he talks about is the rubber band technique.
Okay, I've never heard of that.
So basically, you wear a rubber band around your wrist,
Okay.
and anytime you catch yourself thinking a negative thought, you snap the rubber band.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a simple way to kind of interrupt those negative thought cycles.
And make you more aware.
Exactly.
That's actually a really cool tip.
It is right.
I can see how that could be helpful for just like everyday situations.
Totally, like dealing with a difficult coworker or feeling overwhelmed with a project, it can really help.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so what about part 2?
All right, so part 2 is called Watch Your Words.
Hmm.
And this section explores how the language we use, both internally and when we're talking to others, can impact our attitude.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he argues that the words we use have a big influence on our emotions and actions.
So it goes beyond just like thinking positively. It's about being mindful of the actual language we're using.
Exactly. Like, for example, he suggests replacing negative phrases like, I can't,
Oh, yeah.
with more empowering statements like, I'm learning to.
Okay.
So it's about shifting our language to create a more positive and supportive inner dialogue.
So it's like we're consciously editing our inner script.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Keller even takes it a step further
Yeah.
and challenges us to pay attention to the language we use when we're talking to other people.
Oh, okay.
You know, are we using words that build people up?
Or tear them down.
Exactly. He emphasizes using language that encourages connection and positivity in all of our interactions.
That's a good point. The way we talk to others can definitely have a ripple effect on our own attitude.
Absolutely. All right, are you ready for part 3?
I am... What's that one called?
Part 3 is titled, Heaven Helps Those Who Act.
Okay.
And this section really emphasizes that taking action is key.
Oh, so it's not enough to just think positive and talk the talk.
Right, you have to walk the walk.
We gotta take action.
Exactly. Keller argues that action is what turns our dreams into reality.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah, he stresses the importance of setting goals, creating plans, and then taking consistent steps to achieve those goals.
I think that's where a lot of people get stuck.
Yeah.
They might have the right mindset,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't know how to actually put those intentions into action.
That's true, and that's where Keller's book really shines.
Right.
He doesn't just tell you to take action. He actually gives you strategies for overcoming procrastination, managing your time, and building momentum.
Oh, that's helpful.
He even encourages breaking down those big, overwhelming goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
So it's like he's giving you a roadmap for achieving your goals.
Yeah, exactly. And he even addresses the fear of failure.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
Right.
Which can be a huge roadblock for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
He encourages us to look at setbacks as opportunities to learn
Yeah.
and to adopt what's called a growth mindset, where we embrace challenges as chances to learn and grow.
So it's all about reframing our perspective on failure and seeing it as part of the process.
Exactly.
That's a really powerful message. Okay, so we've talked about the importance of a positive attitude.
Yeah.
But I think it's also important to acknowledge that it's not about ignoring challenges or
Right.
pretending like everything is perfect.
Totally.
There are some people who actually criticize the whole idea of just focusing on positivity.
Yeah.
They say that it can lead to something called toxic positivity.
Right. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I have, but I'd love for you to explain it to our listeners.
Sure. So toxic positivity is basically this excessive and often insincere promotion of happiness and optimism,
Okay.
no matter what the circumstances are.
So it's like forcing yourself to be happy even when you're not?
Exactly. And that can actually be harmful because it can prevent people from dealing with difficult emotions and seeking support when they need it.
Yeah, it's like sweeping those negative emotions under the rug.
Exactly. It's important to acknowledge and process all of our emotions, both the good and the bad.
Right. We can't just pretend like the negative stuff doesn't exist.
We can't, and I think that's a crucial point to make.
Yeah.
Having a positive attitude doesn't mean we deny the existence of negative emotions or challenges.
Okay.
It's about choosing to focus on what we can control, like our attitude, our thoughts, and our actions,
I see.
and using those things to navigate the challenges in a more effective way.
So it's not about ignoring problems or pretending they don't exist.
No.
It's about approaching them with a mindset that empowers us to find solutions.
Exactly.
I like that.
And, Keller's own story really proves this point.
Right.
He didn't just magically become happy and successful.
Yeah.
He went through his own internal struggles. He faced challenges from the outside world, and he had moments of doubt.
But he pushed through.
But his dedication to having a positive attitude helped him persevere and ultimately create the life that he wanted.
His story is truly inspiring.
It is.
It shows that it's never too late to change your life, and that changing your attitude can be the key to a total transformation.
Absolutely.
But what about people who are skeptical about all of this?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say to someone who thinks that the whole power of positive thinking is just a bunch of fluff?
I think it's important to remember that cultivating a positive attitude isn't about denying reality
Okay.
or ignoring problems. It's about approaching those challenges with a mindset that allows you to find solutions and move forward.
So it's about taking control.
It is. And I think Keller's own story is a really strong example of that.
It's one thing to read about it in a book,
Right.
but seeing someone actually live it and transform their life because of it, that makes it much more real.
Totally. And while Keller's story is his own, the principles that he talks about in the book, they're universal.
Oh, for sure.
You can apply them to any area of your life, whether it's your career, your relationships, your health, your personal growth, you name it.
So it's not just about achieving outward success.
Right.
It's about feeling fulfilled and happy within yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. And that brings us to a really important question for our listeners.
What's that?
If Jeff Keller could change his entire life just by shifting his attitude, what area of your life could benefit from a similar shift?
It's a great question for everyone to think about.
What aspect of your life could be better if you had a more positive outlook?
Mm-hmm.
What beliefs are holding you back from being your best self?
Those are really important things to consider.
They are, and if you're interested in learning more about Keller's story
Yeah.
and really diving deep into all of the principles that he shares, I highly recommend checking out his book, Attitude is Everything.
It's full of practical tips and inspiring stories that can help you make a real change.
It sounds like an amazing resource for anyone who's ready to embrace a more positive mindset.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up, I have
Yeah.
a question for you.
Okay.
So Keller's book focuses on the power of the individual to change their attitude. But what about those external factors, things outside of our control?
Right.
Can we really control our attitude when we're dealing with really challenging circumstances or maybe systemic issues?
That's a great question, and it's something that Keller actually talks about in the book.
Oh, okay.
He acknowledges that things happening around us
Yeah.
can definitely impact how we're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But he argues that we always have a choice in how we respond to those situations.
So it's like we might not be able to control what happens to us,
Right.
but we can control how we react.
Exactly. And he uses this really interesting analogy of a ship caught in a storm.
I don't know.
So we can't control the storm,
Right.
but we can control how we steer the ship.
I see.
We can either panic and let the storm toss us around,
Yeah.
or we can stay calm, adjust our sails,
Mm-hmm.
and navigate through it.
That's a really powerful analogy.
It is, and it really highlights the importance of taking ownership of our attitude.
Absolutely, even when things are tough.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that building a positive attitude isn't a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing process.
Right. It's something we need to work on every day.
I love that it's not about achieving some perfect state of positivity.
Yeah.
It's about making a conscious effort to change our perspective,
Yeah.
even when we're facing difficult situations.
Exactly. And it's about knowing that setbacks and challenges are a part of life, but they don't have to define us.
Right. It's how we choose to respond to those challenges that really matters.
Hmm.
So if we were to sum up Keller's message into one key takeaway,
Yeah.
what would it be?
I think it really comes down to this. Be more aware of what you're thinking, choose your words carefully, and then take action based on those thoughts and words. It sounds really basic, but those three things are the foundation for creating a life that you're going to love.
Yeah, I love that it's like a reminder that we have more control than we think.
We really do.
It all starts with that choice to believe that a positive attitude can make a difference.
Just like Keller did.
Just like Keller did when he saw that late-night infomercial.
Right. Who knew Florence Henderson would be the one to inspire such a big change?
I know, it's amazing, right? It just shows you that inspiration can really come from anywhere.
It really can.
And that like one little shift in how you look at things
Yeah,
can have this huge ripple effect and completely change your life.
totally.
And in ways you never even thought possible.
So true. So I have a challenge for everyone listening.
Okay, I like challenges.
As you go about your day today, I want you to pay attention to your thoughts. The words you use and the actions you take, are they helping you create the life you want?
That's a great question.
And if not, what small steps can you take today to change your attitude and move closer to your goals?
Because it really all comes down to making a choice.
It does.
We can either focus on negativity,
Yeah.
or we can choose to focus on the things that give us power and help us move forward.
Exactly. It's not about pretending that the hard things don't exist. It's about choosing how you're going to respond to them.
And that makes all the difference.
It really does.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I love learning from other people's journeys,
Me too.
especially when they're as open and honest as Keller was in his book.
Yeah, it's a great reminder that change is possible for all of us.
Absolutely. And it often starts with just changing how you look at things.
Well, that's it for our deep dive into Attitude is Everything.
And if you're feeling inspired and ready to start changing your mindset,